All right, Shalom. First and foremost, we'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Maharakak Wadash. And this is going to be a part 2 to the video we did last week. Part 1 was in the Greek section of the Metropolitan Museum, which we are in now. And we're just going to go into part 2. And this time we're going to touch on the Egyptian side of the museum. And the brother's going to read the first scripture. And we'll move on from there. We might have to pause the video to go into other sections, the Egyptian section of the museum or whatever, because it's pretty big. So brother could read it. Genesis 10, and you can start from the top.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 10, verse 1. Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah: Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And unto them were sons born after the flood. Skipping down. So
Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And the Africans came out of Ham. That's why brothers always bring out the Compact Bible Dictionary. It states that the Africans are the progenitor of the Egyptians, Canaanites, Libyans, the original Babylonians, but not the Negroes, right? There were 2 dark-skinned people. No, they might look alike, but they were 2 different nations, all right? You can read about that in Exodus chapter 11 and verse 7, right? The Most High doth put a difference between the Egyptians and the Israelites. So what you see here are Africans, okay? And let's pan the camera around a little bit. The brother going to continue reading though. By the way, Israelites came out of Shem. We didn't come out of Ham, all right? The so-called blacks here in America came out of Shem, not Ham. You got it out.
Verse 6. We'll skip it down to verse 6. And the sons of Ham, Cush, and Mizraim, and Puerto, and Canaan. So as we went into, the Hamites are the Africans. Your modern day Africans around in Kenya today. Now they're in the Sudan. But they go back to ones that we're seeing right now in Egypt. They come out of Mizraim, which are Hamites. You could actually read about that when you click the blue letter interlinear. We don't really got to go into it, but it calls.
Yeah, you can go into it. Go into it. You got it. This is the original, and this is the image that Hamites look like today. This is the original image, right? Hamites are naturally a dark-skinned people. Today they're the Sudanese, and we're gonna get some more history on this because. There's a part of this museum called the Temple of Dendur. When the Romans conquered the Greek Edomites, they built a temple called the Temple of Dendur, which we're going to show you, brothers, in a little bit, that they had images in a likeness of themselves too, which ties into how the Greeks did it. When you read 1 Maccabees 3, I believe, 3 and 48, they painted images in a likeness of themselves, because the original Africans or the original Egyptians are dark skinned, excuse me.
So that one show a bit more because people start to move out. But
right.
Going to Mizraim in the blue letter interlinear, it calls them the
I said that right. The original Egyptians were dark skinned people.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
The inhabitants are natives of Egypt. So that's what that means. Now these Ham, the nation of Mizraim, were the original inhabitants before the Romans, or first with the Greeks, before the Greeks moved in there, the Edomite Greeks were in there. The Hamites were dark-skinned people, and these are the artifacts that we're taking a look at right now. And
I want to mention too, to back the brother up, that the Egyptians, or when the Greek Edomites started ruling, they moved the Hamites down like South Africa. That's why you see a lot of those Africans, those tall-ass Africans down in South Africa. You could just clearly see that they're not like the blacks here in America. We have nothing to do with those people. They're not our people. They actually sold us into slavery, right along with the Portuguese and the Arabs and the Amalekites who funded the slave trade. History doesn't lie. Let's walk around a little bit. Here, keep reading out. You got it.
Well, that's it on that one with Ham. You have other kinds of Hamites, of course, Canaanites. You wanted Exodus, something like Exodus.
Exodus 1, and you can start from the top.
Okay. This is the These are the names of the children of Israel which came into Egypt. Every man in his household came with Jacob. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah, Issachar, Zebulon, and Benjamin, Dan, and Naphtali, Gad, and Asher, and all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob with 70 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already. And Joseph died, which Joseph, out of Joseph gave Manasseh and Ephraim. And Joseph died, and all his brethren in all that generation. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceedingly mighty, and the land was filled with them.
Right, and that goes back into the prophecy of Genesis 15, when the Most High told Abraham that we should be like as the sand of the sea, because Israelites are really the majority, while everybody else is really the minority. You see that? So it goes back to the prophecy that the Israelites will be the sand of the sea. You know, the so-called white man, he struggles even producing, right? He struggles even producing. That's why we'll go touch a little bit on prophecy that the dude that shot up the Buffalo store or grocery store, he had his momentum. He said that he wanted to kill these black people because they are increasing as a people. And he wanted to take them out because we're increasing as a people and his own people are decreasing. All right? But in the kingdom, we're going to make Edomites produce.
Yep. Ephraim literally means fruitful. So for any scoffer out there, Ephraim means fruitful. So it's obvious. Come on now. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them. Now there rose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we.
I believe this king that rose up, this pharaoh that rose up, was Ramses II. I got to go back and check it, but it was a lot. It was a lot of Egyptian dynasties or a lot of dynasties that ruled. But I'm pretty correct that it's Ramses II. Pretty sure about that.
Yeah. Just think about how much years passed since Noah entered out of the ark. So think about all those dynasties from when they first exited the ark. You know, just think about that. A lot of time passed. Verse 10. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us.
Now let me stop it right there. It says here in Psalms 83 that the nations were confederate against the Israelites to cut us off. And that's back then. That proves that one of those nations that try to cut us off back then were Hamites. So that proves that these nations today are doing the same, because they're all conspired together. Like you got the Africans, you got the Arabs, the Ishmaelites, the Hamites. The Africans are Hamites, and you got Esau, the so-called white man. So they try to cut us off back then. It's like there's too many of these Israelites here. There's too many. We have to do something about them, and that's why they give our children drugs, guns. Right, and put us in these ghettos. But we're the majority. We're going to rule the earth one day. We're going to rule the earth one day. It's going to be a peaceful world, with us ruling. Right, while these Edomites and these nations are going to be slaves under us. And you got it out.
Also, they also conspired against Yahushua. That's the main thing that they're focusing on.
Herod the Great, yep.
Yep, Herod, was a brother was mentioned. Herod, as he was conspiring, he was thinking that if he could kill Yahushua, hold on, Slack. That is right. If he could kill Yahushua, then
he could cut off the line.
He cut off everything.
Because Herod called himself a Jew, even though he was an Edomite. It all goes back to when the Hasmoneans or the Israelite Hasmonean dynasty conquered and they overthrew the Greeks. And then you had John Arcanus, the high priest, the Levite, forcibly convert Edomites. And so you get like Herod's father, Antipater, and stuff like that, the Idumean, they're Edomites. But he knew that Yahushua was the real Jew, though. They knew that. And the word Jew goes back to the tribe of Judah, Yahweh in the Hebrew, which means Yahweh thanks. Go ahead, you got it. Now, finish your point out.
Yeah, but today as well, they're doing the same thing. They're conspiring against Yahushua because they know that Yahushua is going to come back. And they're conspiring to see how we're going to take him out. That's what you get into when you read Psalms, the 2nd chapter. Because that's why they rage. They're thinking that when Yahushua comes
Beautiful,
back,
beautiful precept. That.
gets destroyed, these nations thinking that they're going to be the next Lord. And this is the book of Exodus, chapter 1, verse 10. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply and they come to pass, that when there falleth out any war, they join also into our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. And therefore, they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens.
That's what we're going to do to you heathens in the kingdom, to you Africans. We're going to have taskmasters over you too. Because what you did to us back then in Egypt, man, you're talking about, because that was prophecy in Genesis 15 also, where the Most High said that we're going to be in Egypt 400 years being afflicted. That was talking about ancient Egypt. It wasn't talking about here in America. Although we were slaves here in America too, of course, we still are subject to payments. But we're going to set up taskmasters to watch over these heathens. See how it feels to be under.
To mention one thing too, though, this is a quick aside. This is how you know these Edomites, man. They're the wicked. Not only are they wicked, but they're the covering cast over all people. You see here, they got things that say Nigeria, but they put us and lump us in with the Africans. Nigerians.
Oh, good eye. Yeah, good eye. Yeah.
So certain things that we show you, they say Nigeria. Don't think, scoffers out there, and they say, oh, look at that. They showed Nigeria, and they're talking about Africans, they're talking about Hamites. No, we know that. And that's why I just want to explain that to you, because you have scoffers out there that can't put two and two together. We're just showing you the exhibit.
Yeah, the brother's right. They don't know how to discern from a Hamite and an African. A Hamite and an Israelite. We have two different spirits. Exactly. The Africans and the Negroes here in America are two different people. They don't get along. This right here is from the Ptolemaic period, 332-30 BC. It says the goddess Isis and her son Horus. And a lot of these images, you see a lot of these Egyptian images go back to, or where you get sun worship or these false gods, or the Semiramis, Tammuz, and a virgin birth, which a lot of Christians follow or believe, which we know there's no such thing as a virgin birth according to the Bible. Yahweh came from a physical sea line. His father Joseph. You got that.
The things you see here, they go back to demons.
Yeah.
And these are demons that these people worship. And I'm gonna go more into that when we talk about this scripture. Exodus chapter 1 verse 11. Therefore did they set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses.
Right. You had Israelite communities. Although we built those cities for the Egyptians, you still had Israelite communities. All right. Matter of fact, let's go over here to I just seen something right here. Let's go up here right quick. This is a picture of the continent of Africa, right? Now, where you see where it's Giza, Cairo, Saqqara, that's where Israelites were dwelling at. That's where Rams. Read that again up.
Exodus chapter 1 verse
It's important to know these
Therefore they
locations.
set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses.
Right, Python and Ramses, Python and Ramses.
I think it's Python.
Just like when we go into the curses in Deuteronomy, didn't we build the American society? Didn't Americans or Edomites thrive off? Didn't they capitalize off us? If you're going to speak about capitalism, you got to go into who capitalized, and they sure enough capitalized off our downfall, because we built the White House, we built Capitoline Hill, which goes back to the Romans. So this is the same exact people that were in slavery in Egypt, were slaves here in America, were brought here to on cargo slave ships from the west coast of Africa. As you can see here, Benin, the Ashanti Empire, all Israelites, Yoruba, Edo, Igbo,
Hebrew,
Icon, Ibar, yep. Say that again. See, you got it.
Igbo, or Igbo, Ibar, Igbo, Ibar. Come on, man. Same thing, man. Hebrew.
That's right. And when you look up here to North Africa, where Libya is at, Israelites were dwelling here too. You had Simon of Cyrene. You had apostles up here too in these regions. Mauritania, which I believe would be right around here, where I got the camera. Gotta look again. But these are Africans. These are Hamites. Okay, keep reading out. You got it. We're about to move on to the next. We're going to pause it in a few and go back to that temple of Dendur where we was at before, Lord willing.
But the more they afflicted them, the more they grew, the more they multiplied and grew. And they were grieved because of the children of Israel.
Yeah, every time they try to extinct us, extinct or cut us off. Every time they try to cut us off from being a people, we always grow. Every time our people are on drugs, for some reason we get stronger and stronger and we multiply. We multiply because the Most High is not going to allow these heathens to cut us off from being a people forever. This earth was made for our sakes. That's why even Ezra was like, wait, the earth was made for our sakes. Why the hell do we got to go through this? He was complaining. I'm like, yeah, we went off and we broke the law, statute, and commandments. We went off and we got to pay the consequence, and that's it. But Ezra now knows why the heathens rule over us.
Yep. Because Ezra's around today.
Yep, the reincarnation.
Who will save me in those days? Because Ezra knew he would
exactly.
be around.
Beautiful.
He 100% knew. Verse 13. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. That's why you read a lot of scriptures that goes into why we have the 7 years. Because we're not supposed to make our people serve with rigor like the Egyptians did unto us. And why we're not supposed to oppress, an Egyptian, which really goes into our people that
were scattered in Egypt as strangers.
We're not supposed to oppress them because we were once strangers in Egypt. So that's why we're not supposed to, in that part today too, you're not supposed to treat Israelite foreigners like garbage. You're supposed to treat them right.
Right. Because they're your own flesh and blood.
Yep. And that's the same reason, because Egypt had no desire to let us out.
Excuse me. No problem.
They had no desire to let us out. It was the Lord that let us out.
Yep.
But when we have our laws with the Hebrew servant, we will let them out after 7 years and give them property and give them money and things after that.
That's right.
Which that was around before Moses, because that goes back to Laban and why you read about Jacob working for Laban. He worked exactly 7 years. Why you do that? Because the law was around back then. It was just oral.
Oral. Beautiful point. So, you know how they, since you mentioned orally, you know how they mentioned the Hammurabi codes, and he came like Hammurabi predates the Bible. No, it doesn't, because the Israelites already had orally written. Not written at that time, but it was orally given. Right? Going back to the sons of God, is already orally given to us. When the Heavenly Father, you can read about that in 2nd Ezra, the 3rd chapter, with Adam, that breath of life was blown into him. What was that? The law, statute, and commandments. Talking about, the Hammurabi code's been here, the Egyptian potteries predate. What has a pottery got to do with anything? The pottery's been here longer than you. That's just, really, we were really the first nation established. I'm gonna say that confidently, because why? There was something called predestination. The Most High said He declares the beginning or the end from the beginning. We were the first nation established.
The first to rule.
Yep.
Yeah, we were made to rule as the sons of God, to rule all the other nations in righteousness. But then we started going off.
Yep.
Yeah,
we're about to pause and just finish reading. I want to get
verse 13. Let's make a quick point. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. That's why America's called spiritually Sodom and Egypt. Because as we served in Egypt with rigor, today we serve in America with rigor. We're the people that have to, the cost of living is going up. We have to work. Jake's always, throughout history, we always had to work the worst jobs, the jobs that don't pay as much money, and we're having to get 3-4 jobs. And I'm talking like in the 40s and 50s, even before, our time today, where we have all this inflation. We've always been the ones to work the hardest.
right.
Whenever there was wars, they would jump up, and do the draft and get us to fight the wars, get us to die in war that have nothing to do with us. So it's the same shit,
That's right.
That's why America is spiritually called Egypt. Verse 14, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, in mortar and in brick, and in all manner of service in the field. All their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor. Exactly. It's the same thing that these Hamites put us through. back then, it's the same thing America and these Edomites are putting us through today. That's why America is spiritually called Egypt.
That's right.
You know?
And also Sodom too, because the original inhabitants of Sodom were Africans, were Hamites.
Yeah.
But when Esau came into power, evils began to multiply, and that started with that first major Edomite empire, with the Greeks.
Absolutely.
There's a little more on that, then we'll pause it, then we'll walk to the other section.
Verse 15, and the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives,
It's coming up.
spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of the one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other was Puah. And he said, when you do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew woman, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then he shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then shall she live. And if you talk about a stool, a woman used to give birth upright. They didn't give birth laying down until like the 15th, 16th century, around there. And that's wicked. Esau came with that. Yeah. That's why the scriptures say, in Wisdom of Solomon, 7th chapter, it talks about how it fell upon the earth, because woman gave birth upright, so the baby would, pop right out. You know? That's why when people make those jokes, oh yeah, I just be popping out babies. They're literally supposed to pop out babies in that vertical position.
That's right.
Like squatting. Yep.
You see how you wanted, read that again now, about the sons, how Pharaoh wanted to kill the firstborn.
Yep. And he said, when you do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew woman and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then he shall kill him.
Right. If it be a son, then he shall kill him. But what?
But if it be a daughter, then she shall live.
Right, because why? They will take the daughter and pop our women. But the sons, they'll try to kill off the seed line of the male. Same thing Esau did here by separating or killing or creating abortions to cut off the seed line, because they don't want our sons to reproduce. They don't want our nation to grow larger.
Yep, and when you go into that, I won't say when you go into it, if you've ever heard about it, there was a transgender MMA fighter that fought a woman, and he beat the absolute dog shit out of her. Even a man that's transitioning into a woman is still stronger than a woman, because men are naturally stronger than women. So that's why it's another reason why they wanted to keep the daughters alive, because you can control daughters, you can control women, you can kick the shit out of them all day. They can't do shit against it. No woman is gonna have an uprising.
It's fucked up. Wait a minute. We go to war. We can't take their women to be concubines, but they can take our women?
Exactly.
Come on, man. That don't make no sense.
When I say that, I'm not inciting violence against women for you simpletons out there. I'm just saying that's just how it is, man.
Let's put the camera on the guy right here. Listen. He said it.
You're not inciting violence against women. That's just the way the Most High set it up. You can either like it or you can't.
Exactly.
Yeah. But the midwives feared the Most High and did not, as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the men children alive. And the king of Egypt called, so they feared, and they kept the men alive, because it was through the Lord. The Lord had that all set up and planned out. Verse 18, the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said unto them, why have ye done this thing and have saved the men alive? Then the midwife sent to Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively.
Yeah, the black woman is lively. She can sing, she got vigor, she has life. Yeah. That's why she got that big ass mouth to talk all that shit. She could go on and on for days.
Yep. And the Latina woman.
Oh my goodness, they follow right behind the black woman.
Yep, because they come out the waters of Judah. So
that's right.
The matriarch, so-called, even though women don't have any rulership, the founding woman, I guess you could call them, or the women of your ancestral woman, they're all Judites through the spirit. Even though Judah wasn't around back then, but Judah is the head tribe. So when you read that scripture, everyone came out the waters of Judah. All the tribes fall after the Judite woman. That's why the Judite woman has the worst judgment. That's why she's bald-headed and she stank.
Yeah,
and she ugly.
Yeah, that's a curse.
It's a curse.
That's a major curse. Hey, we're gonna pause it and we're gonna come right back. But as you brothers can see right here on the screen, it says the ancient Greeks termed black Africans Ethiopians. Now, Ethiopian is a Greek word which means burnt face, because the Greeks knew who the Africans were. They knew where the Ethiopians go back to, or Cushites, was their biblical nationality to be Cush, which go back to the line of Ham as well. But Ethiops means black face. But check this out. It says right here, head of an older man, perhaps related to Greek mime types, Ptolemaic period, right? The Ptolemaic period, 200 through 1 BC. Look at the image. See how the images start changing? Now you got Edomites in power in Egypt.
It says right there, Ptolemaic, the Egyptian pottery figure types derived from a Greek tradition like those here were popular in the Ptolemaic period, exactly as the brother mentioned, along with techniques introduced from Greek workshops. Figures produced in the Egyptian tradition, such as nude females in shrines, woman worship, and phallic male figures.
Yep, and here, not to cut you off, but I gotta mention this right quick. You have the phallics right outside this museum, about 10-minute walk. You have the phallic, the obelisk, which goes back to the Hamites, because the Hamites were freaks by nature, right? They were freaks by nature, the Hamites. And also it goes back to sun worship, all of that. It goes back to all of that, but you see the phallic symbol, right? That's why Washington, D.C. has one. All around the world, I believe in England, they have them all over. Like the pyramid on top of whatever, it's a phallic symbol.
But also continued into the Ptolemaic period, either in pottery or like those opposite in stone and fire. And so I don't know what that means, but
what does it say?
Faience. I don't know how you say it. It sounds French.
Faience.
Faience. I don't know what that means.
No, you ain't got it.
Since we're here.
Yeah, you can bring it out if you want.
Yeah, since we're just here, real quick to take this.
A bowl from the Ptolemaic Empire, 200 to 150 BC.
It's just ceramics.
Ceramic, right?
It's just ceramics.
A dancing dwarf. It says a dancing dwarf, 332 through 150 BC, Ptolemaic Empire. The highly developed rendering of this dwarf's musculature and body form expresses a Hellenistic interest in the array of human types and study of body types and flourished to right. And you know, a lot of Israelites were in Egypt, in Alexandria, Egypt. That was named by Alexander the Great. Israelites were Hellenized in Egypt. So our people were Hellenized, as you can see. We're gonna pause it. We're gonna move on to the next, because we covered the Greek history last time we were here. So, Shalom. Well, not Shalom. We're gonna pause it. All right, we're back. This is called. Matter of fact, let's walk over here, Rob. I think I've seen it right over. There's the Temple of Dendur. Hold on. As brothers can see, it's right there, right? As brothers can see. Now that temple, we're gonna get into the history of that in just a bit. Or we could start over here. Matter of fact, let's start over here. Actually, it says it right here too, though. I'll go on Google, but it says here, the Temple of Dendur, as you can see, once again, right? It says here, from Nubia, Dendur. Roman period, reign of Augustus, building completed by 10 BC. Aeolian sandstone, given to the United States by Egypt in 1965. Now, this was the time when the Romans took over the Greeks. And Salakia, I had a little slip of the tongue last video. I said Mark Antony is part of the first triumvirate. No, he's part of the second. A little slip of the tongue, no big deal. But it says here, the Temple of Dendur is one of dozens of temples that once formed a sacred landscape along the Nile River in Lower Nubia, the zone between the ancient Egyptian and Sudanese cultures. So who are the original Sudanese? So you got to put these things together. It's all in the spirit. The Sudanese go back to Ham. Oh my goodness. The earliest of these sanctuaries were built by 18th dynasty pharaohs and the latest under Roman rule. That's when the Edomites came into power. See, they pushed the Africans down South Africa, and the Africans also were scattered into like Congo and all these different parts of Africa. It says here, the Roman Emperor Augustus, a great builder, commissioned this temple. However, the sanctuary does not follow a Roman style. Its architecture and decoration are both of Egyptian design. That's why America has a lot of these how you say that? These designs like in the White House and all these different buildings. You look at America's structure, it was built off ancient kingdoms. That's why this place is called Baba Kusha. Could you grab Isaiah 47 and 1. See, America idolizes and takes Isaiah 47 and 1.
I'm looking for Isaiah. Oh, there we go. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 47, verse 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans.
Why does it call it daughter of Babylon? Now, the original Babylonians were Hamites, but it says daughter of Babylon. Why? Because the America's like the offspring of those ancient pagan deities, or they acquire all those ancient pagan deities and bring it here to America. And that's why a lot of these people here in America, or Christians, believe in a virgin birth. And what else they believe in?
Oh yeah, the virgin birth, woman worship.
Yeah, women worship, especially woman worship, the women's rights.
All that shit. You know, you have idolatry and witchcraft today.
Yeah.
In America, idolatry and witchcraft is rampant. You have Santeria,
Santeria, voodoo.
You got blood magic.
Yep.
Blood magic is very popular in the society. Tarot cards.
Yeah.
All that witchcraft shit, as it was pushed on heavy in Babylon.
I got another one too. Shit. It's in that same chapter.
Okay. You know, as the same shit was pushed on these ancient nations, these heathen nations, is the same shit America pushes. Because America they just follow out the same customs. And the people that rule America are Edomites, and they're Edens too. Aleister Crowley and all that shit.
As the king are, so are his people. Because look what it says here. It says the Roman Emperor Augustus, a great builder, commissioned this temple. However, the sanctuary does not follow a Roman style. Its architecture and decoration are both of Egyptian design. Accordingly, Augustus is shown as a pharaoh, not an emperor, and makes offerings to Egyptian and Nubian gods. So if the Romans did it, the people underneath them will worship these false gods too. But the original pharaohs were Hamites, and the name Pharaoh means great house. That's all it means. America is called, goes by Egypt. It goes by many names symbolically. It goes by Egypt, goes by Babylon the Great, right? The daughter of Babylon.
Yep. And many more.
It was verse, you mentioned the witchcraft here in America. You could have probably got it, verse 12 right quick.
Okay. I'll just finish reading this real quick.
Go on.
O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. So basically, what this is going into is that America's a virgin daughter of Babylon because it's never been taken down by another nation. However, that is about to end real soon. America's about to lose its virginity because the Lord is going to bring all these nations together in World War III, and they're going to do battle.
You got
nuclear missiles.
That's right. Putin said he could take out America, 2 on the East Coast and 2 on the West Coast. Right, because that's found in the Bible. World War III is found in the Bible, but a lot of these people, it's not given to everybody. It's only for the Israelites, and not only that, it's only for a select few Israelites. It ain't for all Israelites. A lot of these Israelite camps, they're not right in the spirit. We can clearly tell. All right, but the secret things what the Most High reveals us, the one in Amos 3 and 6.
The secret things belong to the Lord, but
no, that's the one in Deuteronomy.
And then there's another one, the
Amos 3 and 6 or 7.
Surely the Lord will do nothing.
That's it.
Surely the Lord will do nothing, but He revealed His secrets unto His servants, the prophets.
Right. That was Amos 3 and 7. Salakia. Being in these weak ass bodies, man.
That's why you have brothers to
exactly.
support you. Verse 12. Isaiah chapter 47, verse 12. Stand now with thy enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, when thou hast labored from thy youth. And America
is full of witchcraft. Because these Egyptians practice witchcraft. Right? These Babylonians practice witchcraft. These Hamites practice witchcraft. That's why you go like that to like Central Africa. And a lot of stuff that the Haitians do in Haiti go back to the Hamites. A lot of stuff that we picked up on the west coast of Africa goes back to the Hamites, like the witchcraft or whatever type of witchcraft, whatever it is. But a lot of Israelites started following those customs. It all goes back to even the ancient world. Israelites followed Hamite customs. It ties in perfectly.
Jeroboam, the brazen serpent. Israelites actually started to worship the brazen serpent that Moses had, and they called it Nakasha, something like that in Hebrew.
Nakas means serpent, right?
Yeah,
I believe that's the way you say it.
yeah. But they had a name for it, but they started to worship the brazen serpent, which the brazen serpent represents Yahweh Shai, because you look upon it and you get healed. But Israelites started to actually worship it and make it like a heathenism.
Kind
They made it an idol and were committing idolatry.
Right, when you go into the laws, what's that, Deuteronomy 4? Or be not like these heathens.
Yep.
Be not like these heathens. See this temple right here? When Augustus or he commissioned to build it, or Petrionis or somebody else too, a lot of these images you see here are not Hamites. These are actually Edomites. These are Edomites, which a lot of people don't know because they don't understand the Bible. As you can see right here, I was telling a brother, if this was built by Romans, sure enough, they painted images in the likeness of themselves or carved or whatever they did. All they did was steal someone else's identity. That's it. They're not the original pharaohs. The Greeks are not, and the Romans are not. The Hamites are the original pharaohs. What do they call this? A sphinx?
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 47, verse 12. Stand now at thy encampments.
Enchantments.
Like.
Enchantment is like a spell.
Yeah.
Like you get like the music industry here in America, it's a spell. You keep hearing drill music over and over in your head. On a hot summer day too, Jake is gonna go crazy. They're gonna think they're gonna have to go take out their enemy because they stepped on a shoe or they didn't want to cut them down on a Lucy or something.
Yep. It's,
reality in the ghetto, man.
It's called drill music for a reason. You know, it's called drill music for a reason because the drill is when you go out and you do violence.
Yeah.
So stand now with thy enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so, be thou shalt be able to profit. If so be, thou mayest prevail.
Right, and the Most High is going to take down what's that? Matter of fact, we could grab that too. Isaiah 19:1, you could grab if you want. The Most High is going to take down.
America,
But you had a precept too. Whatever precept you got, just bring it on out.
I had,
Don't mind me. It's just, we rolling in the spirit. We're just walking around.
Yeah, you gotta be cognizant too, though, because it is gonna close down in a good 30 minutes. But
No. We got an hour and something.
It closes at 4?
No, 5.
Oh, it closes at 5. Oh,
Yeah.
God, I had no idea.
I guess they try to design this as some type of Nile River or something like that. They're off. I don't want to say I don't want the phone up.
This is the book of Isaiah chapter 19, verse 1. The burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, which is a chariot.
Yep.
Clouds are chariots. And shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it.
Now this, you want to go into it? You want me to? Now this ain't talking about ancient Egypt. This is not talking about ancient Egypt. This is talking about America, right? Because spiritually, America follows all the ancient customs of ancient Egypt. Right? It's not talking. That's why a lot of you Jays call yourself Kemetic, which Kem goes back to the son of Noah, which is Ham. Chum in the Hebrew, which means hot. See how you see, like, for example, Jakes like dreadlocks, right? You see this? Jakes love dreadlocks, but that's contrary to the Bible. Samson had what? Braids. He didn't have no dreadlocks. You want to be like everyone else. The scriptures say, envy not your oppressor, nor choose none of his ways. You want to be like everybody else but yourself. Right? That's why the Most High is gonna destroy the idols of Egypt, which is here in America, and it's going to destroy you 2/3 Jakes. It's going to take you out swiftly.
Yep.
Can't say we ain't warning you.
Yep. And the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. So, well, actually, the idols go into that too. You want to touch on that?
Bring it out. Bring it out. You got it.
The idols, literally, the idols are going to be destroyed. But also, the celebrities, the elites of the society are going to be destroyed. And they're not going to make it out. If they, because you have the elites that are going to go and hide in the mountains. If there's any elites in the mountains of America, that's going to be their tomb. They're going to die in there.
Yeah.
You know?
Like these. They and you know it's crazy. The Egyptians used to bury themselves with gold. Tupac had a lyric in one of his songs. He said, "Bury me smiling with G's in my pocket. Have a party at my funeral, let every rapper rock it."
Yep.
So he was basically quoting something that, in one of his rap lyrics that go back to these Egyptians, because the Egyptians used to do exactly that. Used to bury themselves with their gold.
They thought they could carry it with them.
Exactly.
Which is madness.
But the only thing that could come back is their spirit.
Yep.
You know, their spirit comes back after the 3rd and 4th generation through reincarnation.
Now their soul.
Exactly.
Yeah, the soul. Your soul goes up, you die, your soul goes up, and you just come back and you get another body.
Exactly. Yep.
Because your soul keeps your body warm, and your spirit is like what animates you.
That's why you get cold when you die.
Yep. Your body loses heat, you get cold. Exactly. That was no. There we go. And the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. So the heart is like the mind. So these Americans are gonna be very fearful, man. Edomites, you Jakes, everyone. You know, when they see all those missiles coming down, when they see the chariots, they're gonna be scared.
Yep.
The nations are gonna wail. I believe you read about that in Revelations, the 1st chapter, the 7th verse said, "The nation shall wail, or the nation shall fear." You know. You want the second verse? You don't need the second.
Nah, that was it. That was just the point on that.
I'll get a quick precept for you.
Yeah, whatever you got, bring it out. A lot of these Egyptians too used to worship animals. The scriptures say don't worship things above or things beneath. A lot of these Egyptians used to worship animals. That's why the Most High gave us law, statutes, and commandments, not to follow or to be like these heathens. Because heathens naturally are brute beasts. They're wild. A beast has no laws. So-called white man ain't following no laws here in America or abroad. We're given laws. Why? Because it governs us. The laws show us how to live.
Yep.
You got it up.
Yep, the laws set us up in order. You know, when let's look at today's society. Men don't have no order. We follow the Christian church, but the Christian church isn't in order. They may be in order with certain things, like certain churches may be against homosexuality, but a lot of churches today, they stopped with that. You know? Now you got the marriages and shit. Look at how wicked, and look at how even people that are engaged in that wicked behavior, they're unfulfilled in their lives because it's not orderly. They just did it because they thought it felt good and that it was good to rebel. But at the end of the day, what are they left with? They're left with a feeling of nothingness.
Right. Follow not a multitude to do evil.
Exactly. This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 13, verse 1.
Come on.
Surely vain are all men by nature. Surely vain are all men by nature who are ignorant of the Most High. And this is what we're seeing, the vanity of man. They're ignorant because they don't know the nature of the Most High. They weren't created to know that. So now you see all these things, they think that they can carry their gold with them.
They do.
Yep.
That's why the elites, they believe that they can hide in the underground bunkers and have all the food and hoard up gold and silver and all these precious stones and things like that. But guess what? The scriptures say that the forces of the Gentiles will be converted unto thee. And that's talking about the children of Israel. So-called blacks, Latinos, and natives. We're going to have everything. We're going to have everything because the earth was created for our sake. We're going to have everything. Everything.
If you spirit these other nations, they naturally worship us anyway. They naturally just feel it in their bodies just to be below us. That's why they always say, oh, don't say that, don't talk about things about, like they say, the big black guy, the strong black guy, this, that, and the fourth. All black men are always handsome and this and that. And they always follow our culture. The same thing with the Hispanics. You know? You got Edomites that try to follow Hispanic culture. You know, you got Edomites trying to call themselves Native Americans. It's in their nature to copy us and try and be like us because we're a royal people.
You're right. Remember, like the dude you told me when you was out at camp,
Yep.
like he had like a feather or something like that, or something he was doing. I remember you telling me something like that. Because they want to be like us. They do. They want to be like us. They want to be like Jake. All right. History repeats over and over again. We're not making this stuff up. We're telling you through the scriptures what the Bible says.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 13, verse 1. Surely vain are all men by nature who are ignorant of the Most High, and could not out of the good things that are seen know him that is. Neither by considering the works did they acknowledge the workmaster. Who's the workmaster? The Heavenly Father Yahweh.
Yep.
And of course the Lord created everything through Yahweh Shai, through the
Colossians,
angels.
yep.
Yep. Colossians and many other scriptures. Hebrews 1:1, John 1:1, Genesis 1:1, all talking about the same thing. You know. But deemed either fire or wind or the swift air or the circle of the stars or the violent water or the lights of heaven to be the gods which govern the world. So that's what these other nations do. They looked at the sun, the moon, and the stars as their gods, as their powers, instead of looking at the Lord who created all these things that they're worshiping.
And that's a perfect precept to bring out because the Egyptians do worship the sun.
Yeah.
That's also Esau does too. That's why he names it. What's that? He has planets named what? Saturn,
Yep.
Venus.
Yep.
It all goes back to women worship too. Venus, I believe, does. But Saturn, Venus, Mars, which is the god of war, where you get the month of March from. So we're not making this stuff up. These are Edomites. These are the same people that took over the ancient, or they took over the Egyptian empire around the third and fourth beast. Well, really the third and fourth beast, which was the leopard. And then the Romans came after the leopard. The Greeks and the Romans, they're all Edomites. And it puts down the Africans out of there. Of course, you had a sprinkling of Africans or Hamites still in that region, of course. We're not saying every single one was pushed down, but the majority of them were pushed down there.
I think there was a battle too, there's just to mention real quick, and then I want to get two more verses out of this one.
Come on.
There was a battle between, I believe, the Ptolemies, like Cleopatra or whatever. There was like a battle between them and the Romans. That's how the Romans like officially took power in the region, and he set up like that temple of Dendur after. It's on the Wikipedia.
Yeah, it's in here. It's in here.
Yeah.
It goes into the first and like the second triumvirate around that time period.
But there's a battle that goes with it, because with these changes of power, there's usually a battle that solidifies it.
Right.
Like Alexander the Freak in the Battle of Gaugamela, which Darius was killed later on, but that was still a big battle that got in that land. You know?
You got it. Yeah. Power is transition to another power, or power is transition slowly, gradually, just going to happen right then and there. You know, there's different battles, many battles. Like you go to the 6 Syrian Wars, there's so many names to name, you'll go crazy. You got the Diadachi Wars, which are not the 6 Syrian Wars. Just like here in America, I mentioned like you got the Revolutionary War, you had the Spanish-American War.
America's rise to power was even gradual. And nowadays, America has like the largest trade deficit in the entire world, which means that they import more than they export. Because that's all they do. America makes deals with these other nations, and all they do is take. Going back to Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, like liquor, like cognac, goes cognac France. Lamborghinis, like these suits that these Jakes like wearing, it goes back to like these Italian designers and stuff like that. So they import them to over here, or export them from another country over here to America.
Yep, Japan. You import all kinds of things from Japan. You have Japanese, like games and movies. You got all these Japanese, like cars and shit, like Mitsubishi and certain Japanese made in Japan. I don't know much about them like that. I'm not really into cars.
Me neither. I don't really. Yeah.
But you got things like that. America just imports. You know? Verse 3, listen to Solomon chapter 13, verse 3, with whose beauty, if they being delighted, took them to be gods, let them know how much better the Lord of them is, for the first author of beauty hath created them. And who's that first author of beauty? The Lord. So the Lord created all these things that these Hamites were mimicking, and then these Edomites jumped right in right after and started doing the same shit.
Yep.
Which the Edomites were always heathens anyway. They were always engaging in idolatry. You know, when you go into the history, they had their own gods. Even though when they first came out of Isaac, they may have known certain things, but the Lord wasn't dealing with Esau. That's why he went and married Canaanites. I think he married Canaanites, right? Hamites.
Yeah, marry Hamites to get his pigmentation back.
The Ishmaelites and shit.
Which he got his wish on that.
Yeah.
They got it.
Verse 4.
But for the most part, they're all fucking pink little serpents, little devils. we gotta have fun with this too.
Yep.
We gotta have fun. We stress the hell out, man. Go ahead, you got it.
But if they were astonished at their power and virtue, let them understand by them how much mightier he is that made them. So that's what I want to really get into, man. The Lord is the one that created all these moon and stars, created the elements so that you can be able to make your whack ass temples.
Exactly.
So you gotta give credit. But you heathens aren't gonna do it. We're gonna force you to when we put you in slavery.
And that's why the Most High even told us, man, when we build something, I believe the first temple was built, it was by Moses, which is Peter.
First temple?
Yeah, it wasn't a will. You could,
tabernacle.
Yeah, tabernacle. You can find that written in Exodus 25.
Yeah.
Then David told Solomon what to build with, and you can find that written. I believe that's First Chronicles 28. But it had to be built with certain stones or certain things. It just had to be placed properly. It just couldn't just be built any type of way. These heathens build stuff to worship their gods, right? We will build something. The temple was to worship what? Our power. It wasn't to worship these gods. Where's the one that says the nations have no breath? I know there's one in Psalm 96.
I think I saw that one.
They have eyes, but they see not. Yeah, I'll grab that. One's a real good one to grab too. This is Jeremiah and hold on. It's the one in Psalms.
Psalm 96. No, you don't want that one. That's the one that
Psalm 96 too.
Yeah, that one.
Oh yeah,
That's just the gods.
this is Psalm 135. Got bad yourself, boy. All right, I'll get it from here.
It is all good on your side.
Now we're about to wrap it up anyway in a little bit. Yep, Psalm, what's that, 135 I said?
Yeah, 135. Man.
The Psalm 135 in verse 5. For I know, let's start at verse 4. For the Lord hath chosen Jacob, which are the 12 tribes of Negroes, Latinos, and natives, unto himself. Right, because the Most High only made a covenant with the Israelites. He didn't make no agreement or covenant with no other nation. Right? And Israel for his peculiar treasure. For I know that the Lord Yahweh is great, and that our Lord is above all gods. My brother could pan around. We showed you plenty already, so you get the idea. Look down there. What are they supposed to be, like animal gods? They worship a lot of that. Matter of fact, we could walk over here. It's all good.
And no one's tripping. I'll just say, oh no, it's a selfie. If someone asks us a question.
Is this a god? What the hell is this?
Looks like some sort of monkey.
Man, what's that? Look at this. Are these gods? What is this? These are not gods. We're about to wrap it up. These are not gods. They ain't tripping out. Yeah, don't speak to me. These are not gods.
Yep.
Right? So it says here, for I know that the Lord is great and that our Lord is above all gods because they have no breath. They're stone. Stone doesn't have breath in it. They have, we're going to read it. Let's read it. Verse 6, whatsoever the Lord pleased, that did he in heaven and in earth, in the seas, and all deep places. He causeth the vapors to ascend from the ends of the earth. He maketh lightnings for the rain. He bringeth the wind out of his treasuries. Who smote the firstborn of Egypt. So this is the Egyptians. This painting the camera. Look at it. Yeah. Read that again. Who smote the firstborn of Egypt. That was one of the plagues that the Most High sent upon Egypt, both of man and beast. So the Most High didn't care about old, young. grandma, grandpa, and same thing now. A lot of you Jakes, they don't care about you. You want to worship these idols, you're gonna be put to death just like the Egyptians were back then, right? Because the Most High is bringing them plagues once again. Famine, oh my goodness, man. And it says here, right, who sent tokens and wonders in the midst of thee, O Egypt, upon Pharaoh and upon all his servants. So there was many dynasties, many pharaohs. And this is what they worship. This ain't nothing, this is a rock that has no breath, just like the cobblestone. Our people like what? That's Jeremiah 2.
Yep.
They say to the stock or to the stone. Well, the Most High said he scattered the Israelites. We worship wood and stone. That's Deuteronomy 28 and 64.
Yeah.
Our people love Christianity and they love Islam. Stone. This is stone. It's all stone. Ain't no breath in this, man.
Yeah.
Yahweh Shah reigns forevermore. Supreme, man. Yahweh and Yahweh Shah will reign forevermore. When we get you heathens in slavery, where you belong.
He's probably looking at you.
Verse 9. Who sent tokens and wonders. We're about to wrap it up. We in the spirit. Let's keep going. Who sent tokens and wonders into the midst of thee, O Egypt, upon Pharaoh and upon all his servants, who smote great nations. Didn't he say Pharaoh and his chariots are drowned into the sea? Right? This time these devils and all these nations are going to be drowned by what? That lake of fire, that second death. Nuclear destruction. So it says here, O Egypt, upon Pharaoh and upon all his servants who smote great nations and slew mighty kings. Sihon, king of the Amorites, those are Hamites. And Og, king of Bashan, Hamites. And all the kingdoms of Canaan, Hamites. And gave their land for inheritance unto Israel, his people. Right, when that land was called Israel. Right, we named it Israel. And it says here, thy name, O Lord, endureth forever, and thy memorial, O Lord, throughout all generations. So there will be no Israelite worshiping no heathen god, not bowing down to no Kaaba in Saudi Arabia or no black stone.
None of that shit.
See this bullshit, man.
Yep.
Let's walk over here a little bit. I guess we can walk here. We're gonna wrap it up. Let's keep bringing it out.
I think wasn't there one more thing in that article though? I know there was something more about the.
All right, I'll go into it. You talking about the temple of Dendur?
There was a battle there, the battle of Actium or something like that. That was going into that, and that was the transfer of power, and how that land became owned by Rome. You know, because it was already
15 BC, right? 10 BC, 15 BC, something like that.
Temple of Dendur created.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It was around there. I'll go into it.
But I mean, the deals between Rome and Egypt started earlier, because you could read about that with the Egyptians. They under the Ptolemaic dynasty, they made a deal with the Romans, which, you know, whether they're Japheth or Esau, you know, we're not gonna sit here and dwell on that. But they made deals with them to basically protect them,
right? Because,
you know, you had the king of the north coming against them, which are the Seleucid dynasty. So
didn't the Romans tell that goes back to that line in the sand?
Yeah, it goes.
You better make a
line,
decision, right? Because you wanted to take over Egypt. You wanted to take over everything.
Yep.
You can find that written in what's that? First Maccabees 1. It says here.
It's also in Daniel. I think it is in Daniel's 11. I'm pretty sure
it's all in there, right?
Yeah, I'm certain it's in Daniel's 11. I know I read it somewhere. Yep.
This is Psalm 135 in verse 13. Thy name, O Lord, Yahweh wa Yahweh Shai. His name is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahweh Shai. Endureth forever. And thy memorial, O Lord, throughout all generations. For the Lord will judge his people, and he will repent himself concerning his servants. The idols of the heathen are silver and gold, the work of men's hands. They have mouths.
Yep.
They have mouths, but they speak not. This idol. They have mouths, but they speak not. Eyes have they, but they see not. They have ears, but they hear not. Neither is there any breath in their mouths. They that make them are like unto them. So is everyone that trusteth in them. Bless the Lord, O house of Yasharallah. Bless the Lord, Yahweh wa Yahweh Shai, O house of Aaron.
Yeah, that goes back to what I brought out in Wisdom of Solomon, the 13th chapter. That's how you know when we read the scriptures, precept upon precept, these things all go together. You can read about them in many different ways. One thing is Solomon saying it, and then you read Isaiah saying it. And once again, it all comes back from who? From the Lord. Because that's how the Lord speaks. He speaks to his prophets. He speaks to his men.
God.
Yeah. I think there was one more thing.
We probably don't got to bring it out, but there was a battle.
There was a battle, but it was important in the history and how they got up in there. But once again, we can't bring out every little detail, man. That's on you, brothers. If you want to find out, you gotta just look it up. Just look up Temple of Dendur and just read it on Wikipedia.
What's that say? King Thutmose the Third. I believe it's this right here. This stone image or whatever.
That's Amos. Hey, you got some guy named Shaka Amos?
Shaka Amos, yeah. This dude named Sudi Setsi. All these niggas is grimy, man. They're grimy as shit. They be robbing their own people. You Jakes don't get it. You Israelites come out of Shem. You don't come out of Ham. These are Hamites. Right? That social construct has got you Jakes blinded. Because you look like me, you're me. Get the hell out of here, man. Yep. Some of you niggas probably chocolate-covered crackers. Talking about you a suit they said to get the hell out of here, man.
Yeah, some of you are probably actual Hamites too.
Yeah.
And some of you could be actual Hamites because, here in America it's a melting pot. So your mama could have fucked a Hamite and now you a Hamite and now you're fucked.
Yeah,
We're not going to save you. We're going to kill you.
Exactly.
You're an actual Hamite, man. Come on. Get out of here.
Yeah, we're about to end it. What section is this? Let's see what's in here.
I think I don't think we ran up in here.
Oh, no, we ain't going from here.
I don't think we ran up in here, no.
Yeah, we're about to wrap it up. It's a very interesting trip to the Metropolitan Museum. These are Hamites, man. These are Hamites. This is a Hamite. What the hell is this?
Wait, I don't
It's like, oh, my bad.
They gonna get mad,
You can see the figure, the face is dark-skinned men.
Yeah.
Dark-skinned women, dark-skinned men. The original Hamites, once again, are dark-skinned people. The original Arabs were dark-skinned people. Israelites, dark-skinned people. The original Chinese, were dark-skinned people.
But they're not Negroes.
But they're not the Negroes. The so-called blacks here in America are dark-skinned as well. Yahweh Shai is a dark-skinned man from the tribe of Judah. Hey, look at this. Yep. Bitches actually be wearing that shit. You go into their little Egyptian party. You had that Malachi York. He had a club called Club Ramses in Georgia before the police confiscated that shit and they put his ass in jail for child molestation. He was a queer too. Dr. Malachi York, he was a bugged out Jake, man. That 5% shit, that Nation of Islam shit ain't gonna save you, Jake. One bit. I didn't even know this was here. It's another section. Look at that. We covered everything we wanted to cover.
Yep. Let's see what these are.
Two released from battle scenes, early dynasty. Yeah, them Egyptians too were fighting each other also, them Hamites. They fought each other.
All brown. Variations of the color brown.
Yep.
Artifacts. But you can close that whenever you're ready.
Yeah, and with that, we're just gonna walk around and delight out, putting the spirit on brothers once again. And a very interesting trip to the Metropolitan Museum. It's important to learn history, right? Learning history, right? Of course, now we're in a time of prophecies and great judgments going out there. But you have to be well-rounded and balanced in the truth. You got to know history. You got to know prophecy. You got to go into the nuclear. You got to go into the scriptures. How America is going to be taken out, we know. That's the second death to ISIS. But with that, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh. Show me how we shine. Show me how we copy dash. Until the next one, shalom, and Lord willing, you brothers will edify. Shalom.
Shalom.